feel you near me. Breathe in, breathe into.
Life is given for fulfillment, and fulfillment lays simply in getting in touch to the source of our happiness. It's as simple as that. It's getting in touch with that which is the source of our happiness. All our happiness essentially rests on that what empowers absolutely every actions, every taste buds, everything that this body does, everything that this mind does, everything that this essentially soul desires. And yet it's not something that we suck with the milk of the mother. It's not something that we learn in school. It is then need to be uncovered, recovered. There are beings who come into this world for whom this is a gift. In other words, they already live in the bliss of the self, and very little is needed. And they are very often, if not always, put in the service of humanity there and then. For the rest of us, something is required. Something along the way is required to regain that inborn capacity to be happy no matter what. So all spiritual work, in other words, all spiritual work, all spiritual practices, all paths, all traditions, we can scrutinize them, we can compare them, we can be amazed how profound one compared to the other, how much more simple, how much more, let's say, delineated one path compared to another. But in essence, every spiritual tradition is to put us in touch with the core of our happiness. Because everything, absolutely everything is made in the name and in search of that happiness. Paradise Lost, Milton's classic. It's exactly that. It's searching back, or trying to get back to that where we come from. And we come from the Garden of Eden, precisely that, paradise. Our essence is that, felicity. It's a given condition. It's a given condition. We think of our condition as that being ignorance, but it's actually the other way around. Ignorance is it's only a superimposition. It's not a condition. Our condition is life lived in nothing other than what empowers our happiness. So what happens along the way? How is it possible that what is there empowers absolutely everything, then becomes the object of our search, one way or the other? And someone may protest as well and say, wait a minute, I'm not after happiness. I'm after renunciation. I'm done with happiness. I want to get all this out of my system. I want to simplify my life. I want to live with bare minimum. I want to get to the bottom of it all. Well, that is also one of the ways to attain that happiness. Whatever register, whatever extreme, from one extreme to another, from the extreme of being immersed in it to the extreme of renunciation, and everything in between is in the name of living a happy life, in the name of fulfillment. Whatever drives us because we want to be fulfilled. So this needs to be very clearly brought to one's attention. First, to realize what is the propelling force there that guides us. What is the propelling force that makes us dream, imagine, think through, and then put it into the action? We all are here for the sake of that. We will, doesn't matter what will be our response, if we sincerely look in and ask. And that's what every human being wants. A human being who wants to sleep on the bed made of nails does that in the name of happiness, believe it or not. That emaciated yogi does that in the name of happiness, because he gets the kick out of it, and the great one. There are methodologies from extreme control of the force to something which one can essentially just ride the waves of beatitude and bliss without moving a pinky. But the reason behind it is to be in a state where nothing is required from the outside to feel that innate sense of completeness, innate sense of fullness. So in other words, contemplating on this has its value. It has an inherent value. It's realization what we really want from life. Because otherwise, we would go through life thinking that this is important. I will do that because this will bring happiness. I will do that because this will bring happiness. And that is true. Everything, absolutely everything, every object in the world, every object, it's a reflective power of your own desire. No more, no less. This world exists as just that, as the reflective power of your own desires. Every object, every single one of them. From the Katamba bowl to the yacht makes no difference. Whatever gladdens your heart. You want to renounce everything and go in a loincloth like a mendicant naked. In India, many people do that, turn it into a business and a profession. Or you can live in a tent or a palace, makes no difference. Acknowledgement of that is a serious matter. Acknowledgement of that is the realization that one wants to and knows that it is possible to get to that what is essential nature of our reality. The very fabric out of which the desire is made of. The very fabric out of which desire itself springs forth as a springboard. And then the heart only vibrates and sends these symbols, these impulses, that unless I have that, unless I have this, unless I'm in this, unless I'm in that, then there is no peace or quiet. Because there is this impulse, there is this propensity, there is movement from A to B. But the movement is horizontal, the movement is outward. The movement is to go and find it on the outside. So this is where spiritual, essentially, seeker, if you will, the sadhak is born. The spiritual path begins from the realization that nothing on the outside, doesn't matter what extreme we turn to, can provide us everlasting sense of fulfillment. Nothing. We can lock ourselves into the most amazing, eco-oriented, biodegradable, what else?
Compostable.
Huh?
Organic.
Well, eco, we said that already. Self-sustainable, right? Community. And I've seen that around the world. People get together under the ideas of certain shared goals and ideals, and just the mere fact that they will get together and do something together, that will bring happiness. The idea itself is wonderful. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be community, and we're not taking a mickey. It's wonderful. It's needed now more than ever. People go to clubs for the same reasons, to share interests. People drive the same cars. I've seen that. I was amazed. I was driving going with someone in California just now, and I can see one, the same car, another, and they're all convertible. What's going on? And Satya tells me, well, this is a club there. They gather together once a week or once a month to drive the same convertible car. And that's done in the name of happiness. So that moment while they drive the car, like in kind of, in a train fashion, some happiness is there. Some happiness is released. A sense of identity gives us sense of some kind of sense of temporal satisfaction. But as Mick Jagger said, I can't get no, right? Satisfaction. Because satisfaction can never be get. You cannot get it. It's not a thing, it's not an object. Satisfaction doesn't come from an object. Never did. If you study yogic philosophy in depth, you will understand why that is. You will understand precisely why that is. You will see this, it's within the spiritual anatomy of the way we experience this world. The way we experience this world. So, this is why there are also traditions that do not fight with desire, do not fight with how much we have in this world, how little we have, and where to begin to cut, where to begin to curtail, where to begin to withdraw these desires. Some traditions like Tantra sees this in a slightly different light. It sees this in a way that what is the limitation can become the doorway. And the limitations here are that our, simply because of the instrumentality of this process of experiencing, our mind shifts few registers and gets enmeshed in the senses, in the sensory activity one way or the other. And then the mind is not provided that what is the essence of the mind. The mind is in its essence is sattva. It's nothing other than pure sattva. It's balance, equilibrium. When mind is in equilibrium, it reflects as the full and obstructed by clouds moon the light of the sun. We call it moonlight, but it's not property of the moon. Moon does not have life or light of its own. The light of the moon is nothing but reflected light of the sun, in the same way as the mind. So it's, as it were, mind loses its ability temporarily to reflect the light of awareness and begins to be dependent on the activity of the senses at the expense of what essentially is the nature of the mind, that which is pure sattva, that which is equilibrium, and that which reflects the power of our awareness back to the self. It's a self-referral process. So therefore, in many spiritual traditions, different methodologies are devised, different strategies are devised, how to deal with that process, how to deal with it, how to train the mind, how to make the senses less wild, how to make the senses essentially no longer in a driving seat, like in the Bhagavad Gita, the senses were these horses. It's like charioteer supposed to ride the whole thing, not the horses riding the charioteer. But among many, many different methodologies and perspectives, there are those that do not debase or consider senses to be limitations. There are perspectives where the senses themselves simply need to be purified, simply need to be brought to the level of the optimum functioning as well. And Tantra is one of the traditions born out of the Vedas, and it's as ancient as the Vedas, and the Vedas themselves are not human product. It's something which essentially knowledge cognized at the level of highly refined nervous system. When the nervous system is refined to a point when it can tap into any law that there is, then what is being brought forth is one of these laws of nature, and this what gives essentially this or that Veda. This or that Veda. Veda is just that, knowledge. Knowledge. Why to mention this? Why to speak this alongside happiness and the purpose of life? Because just as an additional footnote, the purpose of life is very simple. The purpose of life is life lived in bliss. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else we need to add to it. Because as long as life lived in bliss, everything else is fine. Life will still be filled with ups and downs. We still bear fruits of our actions. The law of cause and effect is still intact. The planets, you study Vedic astrology or even Western astrology, doesn't matter. You will see that each and every one is born with different set of circumstances. Everyone is here experiencing something. Something is being learned. Some challenges, some joys. Mixture of that. Ups and downs. But if life lived in bliss, then all this, essentially, has its way, but it does not have its sway. It does not sway us. It does not topple us over. No matter what. No matter how much success or no matter how much failure. Ultimately, these are just fluctuations. It has nothing to do and does very little to the core of who we are. Our awareness is never perturbed by what we are experiencing as this living organism. This has been known to everyone. Everyone who has ever held space, if we can call it this way. So, that is also of supreme importance. Contemplating on the fact that what is the purpose of life is very important, because we may want to find purpose of life, of our life, in many different endeavors, in many different pursuits. And let that be. It's wonderful, it's beautiful. Life is to express. Life is for self-expression. But if that self-expression does not rest on our inborn capacity to live at the level and from the level of what is known as being consciousness bliss, Satchitananda, then life is wasted. Precious opportunity is simply wasted. No more, no less. No more, no less. Life not live in bliss is an opportunity wasted. A possibility, precious given possibility, has not been actualized. As simple as that. So, again, don't take this for granted. Don't take this just the way it is being spoken. Go and find out. Look for yourself. Go into the core of any spiritual tradition. Any. Gnostic, Sufi, Kabbalah, any Tao. Certainly in India, happiness is the most important thing. It's just known by another name. It's known as Ananda. Ananda is the purpose of life. No saint that avoided some profound discourses to the meaning of Ananda. Ananda is all there is. Ananda is the very reason why we're here. Ananda is that what is meant to be lived. It's not a beatific state to come in and out. At some point that is true. At some point that is the dance. But the very fruit of sadhana, the very fruit of spiritual practice is not to remain in transcendence. You want to read, you want to find the truth to these words? Read Adi Shankara. It's not to escape in transcendence. In spirituality, in absolutely every continent, there were always possibility for escapism. And India is also very rich in the accounts of that. You can find that in every tradition. Spiritual path becomes a means to escape that. To escape. Escape where? Escape in transcendence, to hide in transcendence. And the world is forsaken. Who cares for this world? This world is just impermanence. This world is just Maya. Why to enmesh yourself in something which is ephemeral, temporal, transient, ever-changing? These are essentially just perspectives on Maya, just views, illusion even the term illusion. Yet Maya is not illusion. If you translate the term Maya, it's something else altogether. It's not what it seems or a meter. It's that how reality is measured. That's what Maya is. It's the meter, the measure of reality, the measure of this phenomenal reality. It's the very matrix of perception, the perceptual capacity, dependent on that which is known in Tantra as Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti is worshipped by yogis because it's stronger than any self-realization. Because it's the supreme power of the Ma, the supreme power of the Mother. And everyone is subjected to that. Not subjected to the will of samsara, not subjected to the cause and effect. No. But it is no way that Maya can be essentially eradicated. You can see through it, but you cannot get out of it. You can see through it, but you cannot get out of it. In other words, this realization, why is it then here? What is the purpose? And here, where every self-realization inevitably accompanied by a return, and that return is better lived in bliss. There are many people who have realized to a certain degree the nature of essential reality. And yet, many of them have not been able to live from that level. And you meet these people, and they're aloof from reality, totally aloof from it, almost numb to the experience of this world. Because the quality of Ananda is not being enlivened. And this, as I said, delve into the works of great sages, and you will see that self-realization is only a certain portal through which we walk through, in order to bring that self-realization into this fertile ground of material existence. This is where materia prima and pure spirit meet and intermingle. This is what it means, paradise on earth. That's what it means, heaven on earth. By definition, the term heaven on earth is bringing the force of transcendence through our physiology, through our nervous system, into this world, so that is then our second nature. Then it is our lived reality. And everything then seen and perceived as the fabric of our awareness pulsating, vibrating with bliss. This is the loftiest aspiration of a spiritual practice, of a spiritual endeavor. So I just wanted to mention that tonight.